Welcome to Go Home Heat, a sports entertainment podcast. We have got Justin here.
Yes.
And we're going to talk sports entertainment this week. Raw and SmackDown. I shocked you there, didn't I?
You did. You caught me slipping.
Slipping. Don't let me catch you slipping. You know I'm straight tripping. That's a Dre line, right?
Pretty sure.
Somewhere in one of those Dre days, he says that. Something about his Nina.
Huh?
He's got his Nina, and you know he's straight tripping.
Oh.
Remember that?
I'm drawing a blank.
I may not have said that in a way that you can associate the two. It's incredibly possible.
I've had that happen before.
Yes, okay. MLK Day video to start off this thing. I thought they did a good job there. And then we are in the Thunderdome. Orton behind the screen with some form of a gimp mask on. A burn mask, I would think that was.
This went on and on and on.
Orton getting his screen time.
10 solid minutes of Orton
slowly talking
in a gimp mask
about damnation.
And that's what I wanted to start my wrestling show with.
Look at me. Look at my hideous face. The inescapable feeling of fire melting my face. The horror I have endured.
Dude, I watched what happened. That fireball bounced off your cheek. Why is your whole other side of your face?
The entire face, including the back of his head, is covered.
What they didn't show us is, like, moments after that fireball hit, there was a pause, and then all of his face sheen stuff that he puts on him, like his spray tanner and stuff, just ignited.
That's why you don't run through a flaming house covered in baby oil.
Yes.
Firemen don't oil up before they go fight a fire.
Right there. That's what happened. We missed it. There was one. It was a delayed.
That was the real shoot, by the way.
That's the real shoot.
Bean was like, okay, you're going to just shoot it. She's like, I don't know if I can hit him. And he's like, I mean, you don't have to. He's literally covered in baby oil. Like what you did with gas last week, that's nothing. Wait till you see how this covers it.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, he's lucky, evidently, because they were only first-degree burns, although, Lord have mercy.
That was fifth-degree makeup.
You could chop off his limbs, he said.
Calm down, Rocky Dennis.
Dude, is that the line from Monty Python?
Yeah. Well, no. The line is,
it's just a scratch.
It's just a scratch. It's only a flesh wound.
Yeah, that's Randy Orton, I guess.
I'm fine.
Yes. Anyway, the pain is fueling his every move, something or another. The Fiend when they burn down. Whatever, dude.
It went on.
Byron Saxon, Tom Phillips, and Samoa Joe here. And Randy is going to be dealing with this pain.
You know who had to deal with that pain?
We did.
Me.
Yeah. Lacey and Flair, speaking of pain. Charlie interviews them, and Lacey does 100% of the talking here. And she's learning from the dirtiest player in the game and has a ringside seat for all this. I appreciated the concept that she made it seem unphysical. And that she made it seem like he's going to be my manager, not my significant other.
Yeah, that's glad for that.
That's not how it started last week.
No.
They adjusted that.
I'm hoping they keep adjusting that.
Yeah, let's get further and further away from
further and further.
Yes.
For me having that mental image.
So she's going to go with her ringside seat to watch Royce versus Flair, which we don't actually see her ringside at first. But anyway, she said that's what she's doing. But Royce versus Flair is coming up. And
remember when Peyton Royce was going to get a singles run and she was going to have a significant career? And now she's the jobber for a made-up tag team between her and Lacey Evans. She's the one eating pins while Lacey is teamed up with Ric Flair.
Yeah, but when Peyton is wrestling, do you think, like, she's out there with Charlotte, and this was good. Mm-hmm. It wasn't great. And it wasn't Charlotte that wasn't great.
No, but how much are they giving her time? Are they giving her?
She's getting to wrestle every week. She gets pinned. You're the one who said she gets pinned all the time.
Yeah, but I bet it's hard to get up to get pinned.
I mean, people seem to be able to do it on NXT.
That's true. Well, that's true.
Kate and Carter and Katz did it for months.
Mm-hmm.
And then went out there and gave us a banger.
Yeah.
And they never went out and mailed it in. I don't think Peyton's... I don't understand it because I thought Peyton... And I still think Peyton has a huge upside somewhere
Mm-hmm.
online. But I was looking forward to this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it is hard for a pro wrestler to know that somewhere along the line this is going to be about something that's not in the match.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you don't know for sure when they're going to hit Flair's music, which they did during this. And then Lacey's wearing the robe to piss off Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And that turns into, of course, Charlotte putting the figure 8 on Peyton and then holding it post
match.
Yeah, which was, I mean, it's fine, but it just feels like, and to your point, it feels like this isn't Asuka and Charlotte going after Peyton and Lacey. It feels like this is Peyton getting some ring time while Lacey's fixing to get a feud with Charlotte.
That's what, yeah.
Which is, I mean, I just am really struggling to figure out how Peyton hasn't taken off more. And then I see what Billy's doing over there, not wrestling at all, and I'm really enjoying what she's doing.
Oh, she's hilarious.
And I love those two anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll get into what they're doing over there anyway. But anyway, so this was kind of a whatever segment.
Yeah, it was
fair
just,
enough?
Yeah.
Okay, Hurt Business walks up on Matt Riddle, who does some form of talking. Bobby says he's got this and tells Riddle that flip-flops are bad for your feet. And, of course, Matt was like, what do you mean? I mean, these are the only shoes I can wear because of one time there was snow outside and I walked around snow and my feet almost came off because I walked around in snow.
I'm sorry. Well,
right. Another great... But then Bobby saves all segments by stomping on his toes.
And the feeling that shot through my body when I imagined Bobby Lashley in those shoes stomping on my foot in a sandal woke me up.
Yes, it was great.
Yes, that was...
What a great ending to an otherwise... And that was the most... I'm going to say, if we're 40 minutes in here, that was the most exciting time of that first 40.
Mm-hmm.
Lucha House Party wonders if Riddle will be able to wrestle, and he assures them that he can wrestle with bad toesy woesies.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. Mustafa Ali addresses Kofi sitting at home with a broken jaw, which I really like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because of everything that surrounds them.
Mm-hmm.
The clique, the
Retribution
clique. But every time they give Mustafa
the mic, man,
he's great.
He does something,
and he's good at the ring. It's just
if you would give them half a rope, let them run just a little bit, you'd have something. But they won't do it, man.
I completely agree, and it feels like they're trying to write the course on that a little bit.
But you got to give them victories over significant people.
Well, to your point,
and they're kind of doing that.
Dave said they want to take his heart and soul, which would be Woods in this case because he's at home. And so they have been taking apart Xavier Woods week by week. And Woods is a fantastic wrestler, as we all know. And he is wrestling
Mace,
and he does a good job
of trying to make Mace look like he can wrestle. He
does. He sticks and moves, and the immense Mace, once he hits a move, it knocks Woods down and hurts him. And then Ali is yelling at the announcers throughout this thing.
He's good commentary.
He is. He's so good. Woods winds up making contact with Ali, and that is when Ali decides, we're going to all assault her. That is the impression they give Woods as they surround the ring to distract Woods, and then Mace gets the finish there.
That I don't think went the way he wanted it to go.
The finish didn't look great.
No.
It was a hip thingy.
It was a weird thing.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah.
I don't know what that was supposed to look like, but I didn't, because I haven't seen it before, so.
I know what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Like usually a finisher sounds like
boom.
Yeah. It doesn't make like 3 or 4 noises as your feet hit and then your knee and then your hip and then your shoulder. It was whatever. Excuse me, Asuka You've been invited to the playground. What do you expect? Asuka goes out to the... she says, I don't know Alexa's dark side. And Asuka seems to be... Asuka spit screen missed, and she's taken a little bit aback by what's going on.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, that's just something she know. I mean, we all know she put something in her mouth, and she doesn't pretend she's like, capable of spitting poison. So this is a little different.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot different. Then we go to what was Triple H's name in this? Henry Delinky.
I can't remember.
Okay, Triple H dressed up in some form of a toupee, and Stephanie intro the WrestleManias through a news style segment. I thought Roman did great here.
Yeah,
I thought
he was
Sasha
funny.
did good. Hugh Can't See Me.
Uh-huh.
Cena was great.
Uh-huh.
And basically, what the point of this was Tampa, which they probably owed Tampa because they never worked out there, and they seem to have made Tampa their home. And then they're moving to Texas Stadium the next year, and then going to Hollywood the year after. Everybody has kind of circled 2023 as being the Roman Rock.
Okay.
If that ever were to happen.
Yeah.
Which would be... I'd put the Rock up there a little bit, but dude, him and Jericho are the same age. Let's put it that way.
That's freakish.
Yeah. Well, what's even more freakish is they're both in better shape than me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like 1 year older than them.
Oh.
Or I might be the same age as Jericho, but anyway. Okay, Bliss Playground segment is coming up, and we get the playground looks great, I thought. And did you have something?
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Okay. She must address the Viper in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to talk about things before they got all heated.
Mm-hmm.
She's great with the play on words. That Alexa, golly. She calls out Asuka and scares the crap out of Asuka. First, she sits in a swing in one of the two swings on the playground, and Alexa kind of lets her know that there's somebody already sitting there.
Oh yeah, she freaks out.
Yeah.
That's not for you.
Yes. And then at some point, Asuka says something about, he's always with you, don't worry, because she's disappointed, of course, that he's gone, that the Fiend is gone, and Asuka wants to comfort her to some degree. It says, don't worry, he's always with you, yowie wowie, and that really gets her going. And then, of course, the little wooden horse over to the side that you would ride starts to move on its own, and Asuka's kind of out of there.
She books it, which would be a great moment for R-Truth to come running through the ring, like with people after him or something, and stop mid-ring and turn and look and be like, Little Jimmy, what are you doing out here?
Yes.
And then like run over there like he's grabbing him and try to run out of the ring, and then look, you're not Little Jimmy.
Yes, that would be a good callback.
Call back, Little Jimmy.
And we just had Cena there, so...
R.I.P. Little Jimmy. We miss you.
He was such a good performer. You could barely... So quick. Barely see him, right? Controversy breeds cash.
Little Bischoff. I called that. I was like, little Bischoff quote there.
I love any Bischoff quote I can get. Okay. Shayna Baszler says she's going to make Mandy tap, and then she's going to toss everybody over the top rope and be the winner. And Nia likes the idea, but doesn't seem to think that... I love Nia and Baszler together. They play off each other so well. Double J gets interviewed. Breaking out the Double J, because when you want to know...
How to steal Kurt Angle's wife.
If you want... Correct. I was going to say, if you want to know how to be booked incredibly strong, extremely late into your retirement...
Yes.
Double J is a guy to ask.
He knows. He can tell you.
Right. Or if you want to write a match that requires a blueprint to understand what the hell's going on. Either one.
Either one of those.
Jeff Jarrett is your man. Nia's watching Mandy and Baszler, and she does a running commentary with Byron, and I'm becoming more and more of a Nia fan because she is killing Byron the whole time they're talking on this thing.
And Byron needs it.
He seems to thoroughly enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that kid.
Yeah.
He's such an idiot. Which I'm sure is, the role. When she said on that ride-along Because there was a ride along, that I talked about before, that like they said that Byron had this huge crush on her, and that she was like, "I'll call him right now," And she said, I think he's just sitting around in his onesie or something like that. In the ring, though, Baszler's abusing Mandy, and Mandy's going to town there for a little bit after a blackout, which we know what that means. Shayna does some arm twisting, droppy thing, choke. Dude, Shayna was on her. Here's
my thing. This match shouldn't have taken as long as it did. This match is ridiculous. Mandy Rose. Why did this match happen?
Dude, there are people right now convinced that Mandy Rose will be a champion soon. You are not in that club.
I'm not. This match happened kind of last week or so, close enough.
There's been a rotation here.
I don't. This is just that usual. We're gonna make these people wrestle in 50 different permutations of the same match, and it's just, I don't know.
Shayna wants to challenge Asuka and Charlotte, and with their issues, she wants to go ahead and do it now. Charlotte says that Lacey is doing what I've been accused of.
Hitting on her dad? That's creepy.
She was, I believe, referring to trying to ride her father's coattails.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
To the point of even wearing my father's robe to the ring. I believe that is what she was referring to. I hope I have never personally seen anything like that. Ricochet is given an opportunity tonight against AJ
to win his way into the Royal Rumble. So why didn't Ricochet just get declared like everybody else? Former U.S. champ,
I think he wrestled Lesnar within the last year and a half for the world title.
Yeah.
Cesaro, he got to proclaim he was in it.
Yeah.
I think pretty much everybody gets to proclaim they're in it except for Gulak and Ricochet.
Yeah. What a bunch of...
Ricochet brings up 51st dates somewhere in there.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about retrograde amnesia.
AJ loves that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Almost probably loves that movie too.
Yes, of course. Almost seems romantic. AJ talks about how he doesn't particularly like the GM, which nobody ever likes the GM, or if Pierce is even the GM. So let's get to the match. AJ versus Ricochet was very good. I liked it. You liked the match?
Oh, dude, that was a banger, man. That might have been one of Ricochet's best matches in WWE.
It was pretty doggone good. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
AJ, of course.
The finish was
AJ was losing the majority of the match.
Yeah.
Which I believe was the story we're trying to tell.
Yeah.
And like you said, I've never seen top 2 Styles clashes I can remember.
That's up there. The bouncing him off the top rope and somehow Ricochet and him getting themselves to land with his, because he was not touching anything when he came off that, bounced off.
He managed to bounce off of a rope
on his stomach.
His pectorals.
Yeah. and land on AJ in a way to set the Styles Clash up. It looked ridiculous.
Right. It was incredible what he did. And, to me, that's got to be Ricochet, right? I don't know that any other 2 people could do that.
No. That's 2 of the greats.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on. The Dirt Sheet episode. We get here, we get the Dirt Sheet back, and we get the Goldberg intro because we got Gilbert.
I called that one. That was an easy call. I was like, I bet you $5 it's Gilbert.
Then, of course, Drew's music hits, and Fake Drew comes out.
Did you recognize Fake Drew?
No, who is Fake Drew?
Fake Drew's the guy from Numbers. Remember Numbers, the show where the mathematician helped his brother solve crime? He was the mathematician. He was also in the Santa Claus. He was the elf.
Does he work there?
I don't think so. I think he was just a fan. I think that he was back. I don't know what the deal was. I saw later that he confirmed that was him.
Did you notice that his kilt wasn't a kilt? It was like a shirt?
Yes.
This segment was just idiot stuff, but
it was ridiculous.
You know what? I'd rather saw that than Goldberg and Drew talking, though. Just to be totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get it anyway. They're going to talk next week or whatever. It just, Okay, so Cedric Alexander.
I will say yes. If we're comparing this segment to Drew and Goldberg promo,
the first day,
I will take this.
right.
At least everybody in this seemed to know their lines.
Right. So, of course, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, Lashley versus the great Grand Metalik, Lindsay Eldorado, and Matt Riddle. Basically, Sheldon and Cedric are airing out their dirty laundry for all of us to see as this match goes on. Cedric continually tags himself in and then gets distracted, gets in trouble, and then Shelton gets in and he gets in trouble. Cedric yells at him about, oh my God. MVP on the outside screamed when they got in trouble at one point, you keep playing stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Mm-hmm.
What a great line.
Oh, that's one of my favorite.
I've never heard that. You've heard that before.
Oh, dude, yeah. That's what I'm not saying I said that to kids when I was working when I was a counselor in juvie, but yeah, I said that to kids when they did some boneheaded maneuvers. Man, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes, dude.
Right. Great line. Line.
You throw a punch at a guard about 6 times your size. Yeah, it's not gonna.
See, I feel like that probably helps in juvie.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's a good motivator. Or at least outliner.
Yeah.
Of, let's just try not to be,
Let's try to make bonehead moves.
Yeah.
Guys.
Stay away from the bad ones.
Yeah.
Okay. The Hurt wind up reuniting after the break there, and Riddle swings the momentum. Eventually, as they keep complaining, Lashley is just like, screw this, and takes over and wins.
Yeah. And
then they continue to yell at each other afterwards, and Riddle gets the flyby kick. How long are we going to do this? And Cedric is leaving, huh?
This is ridiculous. They just got these guys together. You spent a year, not really, but it felt like a year building this up, getting him in the faction, and now after...
It seems like...
They're addicted to... They can never keep any faction together for any length of time. They're addicted to we got to have inter-faction tension and break them up. And it's only on the two big shows. Yeah. Look at NXT.
Right. Undisputed Era is always together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't see the unnecessary... I mean, you saw it with Johnny and Tommaso, but that was, fun storytelling over years.
Right. Well, and how do you put it? Faction warfare can be so easy to do amongst other factions, but they never have too many of them.
They have so they have to fight each other, or why haven't they taken over the whole show?
Right. If you remember, like in the what people consider the glory days, the Attitude Era, you had the motorcycle gang faction.
Oh yeah.
You had the Nation Domination. You had DX. You had whatever Hart's group was, Team Canada, whatever.
Hart Foundation.
Whatever you wanted to call them. And so you had 4 or 5.
Yes.
Along with, that's also what made a Stone Cold stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was on an island.
Yeah.
To some degree, it works with Mox over on the other show.
Yeah.
He's on an island. He's not in the middle of all the stuff.
Factions all work, around. Dude. There's a reason.
New Japan excels at it.
Well, yeah, because...
It's basically 4 factions.
Yeah. And it works because you can tell... you can tell classic stories of, warfare. You got to have generals, you got to have soldiers, you got to have the lower guys versus lower guys, the upper guys versus... It just opens your storytelling up.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of have a bunch of single guys running around all the time.
Right. So let's get into the faction. Elias and Reichardt. They seemed to got their wires crossed last week, and Reichardt says, hey, I understand that we got our wires crossed last week, and Elias says, look, no more misunderstanding. I didn't mean to's or anything like that. This is not Tommy the Tank Engine, right?
Thomas the train.
Yeah, did he say it right, though?
I don't remember.
I'm not sure he said it right. But anyway, we got his point. And the Universal Truth here, which I'm assuming will be their name at some point. Mm-hmm. You wanted faction warfare.
Yeah. Two guys is not a faction.
Correct. Also, I don't...
Minimum number's 3 for a faction.
don't even think they like each other.
No.
Or what they're doing.
No. I think they're both very unhappy, man.
Yeah. And so Jeff Hardy is probably just happy to not be on their side of things.
Yes.
And so they're going to fight. Jeff versus Reichert is what the next match, which is, again, we're going on 4 weeks of some form of this, right?
Yeah.
And this is fine for what it is.
Is it just?
It's just not anything really new for what it is.
Or interesting.
And they again argue what no help means, because last time he said don't help him, and this time he said don't help him. And so then Elias winds up helping and causing and getting Reichert DQ'd, and we're probably breaking this faction up, right?
That was quick. That didn't last long either.
Drew McIntyre promises that he and Goldberg will both be there next week. As long as he gets a negative test result.
Yeah.
Bliss versus Asuka in our main event of the evening.
We made it.
Yes, 17 pages of writing. Okay, oh my God. Bliss is great early in this matchup. And, okay, the story here, we know Asuka's a wonderful pro wrestler, and she is striking and doing all the things right. But as this match goes on, the lights go out and they come back on, and it's like a pink or I don't know what that other color is, but magenta, whatever it is, around the ring. And Alexa's makeup gets different, and her outfit is different, and she is able to absorb all of her. She's kind of embodied the Fiend, or the Fiend has gotten into her, something
her
like
version
that.
of it. Yeah.
And so she is now able to withstand the punishment. I'm not huge on no selling in wrestling in particular. This is what the storyline is, and I absolutely love this.
It works for this plot line because there's a reason for it. It's not just silliness. It's silliness, wrestling silliness, but it's not just this guy's super tough. It's,
right. It wasn't everybody loves Cena now.
There was an origin for it.
It wasn't Super Cena. It wasn't the Ultimate Warrior. It wasn't Hulk Hogan. This is some form of a supernatural explanation of what's going on. Or
mental, like...
I've gone so crazy I can't be hurt unless I'm really hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I thought this was great. And she does wind up just no selling. Probably incredibly fun, too, if you're 5 foot even and you get to no sell everything.
Yeah, she's never gotten to do that.
She's always had to like flip over 7 times when she gets touched or whatever.
That's got to be fun.
Yeah.
And the way she no sold it was like she'd get hit and she'd fall backwards and she'd just turn around and come back, which is, I like that. I like, because it's not the same thing as just getting...
Right, it's not really no selling, right?
No, I'm selling that
I'm enjoying the punishment.
That I got hit. I'm just saying that didn't have an effect.
Right. I'm enjoying the punishment.
Yeah.
And so then she winds up just grabbing Asuka, who I think Asuka loses as much. I think eventually Asuka will win if this winds up being a feud. I think eventually Asuka will win because it won't unsettle her as much at some point, and she'll be able to win. But here I think she got unsettled in theory of the match, and Bliss is able to just grab her and put her in the Sister Abigail and put her away. And I loved it.
I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, I did. It just took 3 hours, but we got there. Let me in.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to something that was... I read online last night. I didn't get to see SmackDown. It was a Twitter feed. I didn't get to see SmackDown. I'm watching it later tonight. Just random fan. I heard it was perfect. How many times do you hear somebody say that about a wrestling show?
No, never.
If they're not a mark.
Yeah.
Of course I'm a mark, but it's not a mark. SmackDown. Are you ready? We start with Roman and Paul walk to the ring. Roman begins to question his availability in the match next week due to his body aches. If Adam Pearce is able to say that this is out of his control, then...
one of the worst ones being his back. Carrying this company.
Yes, and he did point out that except for when he had cancer and when he needed to be away due to...
compromised immune system.
Correct. That he has never really missed work, which is all true. And, when you are the guy, which he was for a while and is again, although this time around he's found a way to be the guy without having to wrestle every week, which is probably great for him.
Much smarter.
Yes. And I loved this mean, belittling thing. And then when Pierce comes out, and tries to say that, this has gone too far, whatever, and Roman just tears into him, and then Paul laughs, and then Pierce tries to change the subject and say, look, I'll take whatever from him, but I'm not taking anything from you. Roman hands the mic to Paul, and Paul says, look, I'm from New York. I'll kick your ass, which I'm not sure that's exactly how that goes. Paul seemed to think, Paul was feeling himself right there.
Well, yeah. I call the ending.
Yes.
Right in this moment. Because that was a little obvious.
Yes. Now, did you call the whole ending?
Yeah.
Because they had announced that KO wasn't going to be there, and we didn't know exactly why yet, but we found out later. Well,
they announced that KO wasn't going to be there, and then later in the episode they announced that Roman had left the building, so then I knew I was right.
Right. And
I didn't know if they were going to go the full switch with, like, Adam faking the injury too, or if they were going to go with the run-in. But I saw I knew Paul Heyman wasn't going to wrestle. You and I both knew that from the jump.
So, yes, and so Paul winds up challenging.
Feeling his oats, baby. I loved it, though. It's Paul Heyman. I don't care that I saw it coming because they did it well.
Correct. He challenges Pierce to a match at the end of the night, and that works out great. And then, because this is... If you tell me Paul Heyman's going to be in a wrestling match, I know for a fact I'm getting some form of spectacular shenanigans.
Yes.
Because that dude ain't wrestling.
Ain't going to wrestle.
Right. Now, Sami Zayn comes out, speaking of shenanigans, and he handcuffs himself to the railing of the walkway to the ring, has a sign. What was the sign?
He had several signs throughout the night.
Oh, he was so good. He's worried about the injustices that have been levied against him. He's correct. He's not going to allow these things to happen. He's got his documentary crew filming all of this so that we can get this to the places it needs to be, and hopefully to Cannes Film Festival as well, because this needs to be out there, Sundance, all the good ones. And then we get a match as these people walk by him, and we get Asuka and Flair versus the Riot Squad with Billie Kay coming out looking like she's got a nose piercing. She's all in here. She's ready to mosh a little. What did she call it?
Oh, God. Mishing?
Mishing.
Yeah.
She's ready for the mishing. Natty and Tamina are watching on TV. Liv and Ruby are in the ring. Billie Kay early on successfully distracts Asuka and Flair. But as the match goes on, that's not how that works. Liv has gotten so much better at wrestling.
Oh, man. She though?
Ruby always was. This was actually pretty... Like, I enjoyed the Billie parts because we can get a Riot Squad Asuka Flair at any time, and it'll be fine for me to watch. But Billie, I just love her. And so then, of course, she winds up distracting the referee when Ruby has a chance to win the match, which winds up, of course, costing them. Asuka hits a code breaker that turns into a natural selection, and that is one of the better combo finishes out there.
I like it. Hits the same spot, both moves. Bam, bam.
Right, and then, of course, when she hits the code breaker, she does it bouncing off the rope. Charlotte's long enough that she can reach out there and slap her on the back, get a nice tag in.
Boom, boom,
Seamless. Boom. It works. It's easy. Billie Kay is very sorry, but she has talked to people and gotten them into the Rumble, which I don't think that was a lengthy discussion. And I think Ruby and them realized that that's not really how that worked. And so they dump her. And, I mean, we're all sad. Stand against moral injustice is the next sign that Sami has. And DB comes to the ring, and he pauses at Sami.
Everybody pauses at Sami as they walk out for the first half of the show.
Well, he's quite the... Sami is a sight to see.
Dude, he's hilarious.
He's dressed like some kind of rebel.
He looks like Che Guevara's Canadian cousin.
Yes. And he's
what would Che Guevara's Canadian cousin's name be? I don't know what's
the Mountie.
The Mountie.
Paul Levesque.
Oh no. Oh, dude.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Jacques. His name is Jacques Guevara. Jacques Guevara there.
Yeah. Okay.
He's trying to start a hockey union and a maple syrup union and free the bacon.
Some form of a maple syrup salsa.
Yeah. He's gonna organize the Molson's workers.
Yes. And so we have a moose crossing involved in all that. But the Moose are safe right now, and we have Daniel Bryan in the ring, and he is letting us know that he's never won the Rumble. He's done everything else. He needs to win this thing. Cesaro interrupts, and Daniel Bryan basically is willing to wrestle here in his... He's got a nice little suit on. He's going to take off and wrestle in if the guy wants to. Because when Daniel's dressed in a nice suit, it's not quite like when Seth's dressed in a nice suit. It's more... It's casual fighting nice.
Yes.
And so he's ready to go, but Cesaro's like, I already beat you.
Yeah, good point.
Why would I want to fight you? Let's get a...
Wait, so does Cesaro say, I already beat you? Why would we want to do this match again and again and again and again and again until people hate it?
Shooting on creative.
Yes.
Like he's got a machine gun.
Yes. 6 dudes in the back just went down.
This isn't the first time they will shoot on creative either
No.
in this show, because Sonya does later.
Yes.
Tongue-in-cheek-ish. Okay, and so then he has an open challenge to anyone not named Daniel Bryan, and Dolph Ziggler accepts, so we're going to have a heel versus heel match. Dolph says fairly honestly that Robert Roode and yourself are two of the only people that can handle me. He alludes to being able to go all night long, which is a Ric Flair callback of some kind or another. Dolph gets in the ring, and we have quite a little quick matchup. Daniel Bryan's on commentary. Yeah, they can do this.
Cesaro's strength, man, dude. When he pulls him up into that stalling suplex out of the, carry hold down here, like where his legs are around him.
Where he holds a full-grown man out perpendicular or horizontally to his hips and then lifts him above his head. Yes. That's pretty impressive.
That's freakish.
Yeah. Then of course, he does a swing, and what sucks is they didn't bother to count it. But they had a whole conversation while he was swinging that dude in a circle.
He's still swinging.
Yeah.
I would puke.
Oh my God! And
so much.
He dropped him, and then Cesaro. It only takes him like a couple of steps to kind of get his wits about him. But I can't imagine with the person on the ground.
How does he do that?
Probably to me, it looks easier on the guy swinging than it does.
It does because he can close his eyes and just kind of it's like a fair ride. You're just pushing backwards.
Right.
You can kind of forget that if you're looking up, it would mess me up. But the guy in the middle, man, I'd puke.
Now they do shoot over to Sammy a little bit here and there, and then they come back, and Dolph leaps to do something and winds up in a neutralizer. Was he going for the famouser?
Yeah, there was a sequence where, and he ended up, I can't remember if he went from the shoulders down or so. I can't remember exactly. There were some mat wrestling in there that was so.
They started out on the mat, and Dolph's a premier mat wrestler in real life. As a young man, he was.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Cesaro is.
That string they put together, dude, was so cool.
Hammerlocks in the works, rolling around the ground.
There's so many different pin combinations.
That was the beautiful part.
Yeah.
The multiple pinning combos they wound up rolling themselves into. This was really good.
I loved it.
Especially considering they didn't give it a whole lot of time.
No, Cesaro, that rumor was that they went around and asked people who was people that should be utilized more, and everybody kept saying Cesaro. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of hopeful, maybe, kind of, sort of, that they're giving him that. And come on, dude. How have you not put the belt on this man? Right.
Some belt, at least. And it seems like Shinsuke may have been the other guy that the answer was, So we wind up with neutralizer, bang, finish, it's over. And then we get boss. It's boss time, guys. Because Sasha's wrestling the Somalia Reggie, which is in Carmella drinking champagne on commentary.
Which, if I told you that from the outset, you would think this is going to be terrible.
Not only that, you would think there would be some kind of shenanigans because WWE doesn't tend to do any form of real energy in wrestling. Even when they have that style match, the man tags in, the woman leaves the ring, and it's man versus man, woman versus woman.
This man does not like man-on-woman violence.
Correct.
He doesn't like male towards female violence on his programming.
Correct. And also, like, the few times you've
Anymore.
seen it getting like that, correct.
Because Mae Young getting power bombed up.
Since he's become a publicly traded company.
Yeah, it's amazing how
that has changed.
It's amazing how that changed.
Correct. Now, they did have the Seth Rollins, Becky, Lacey, Corbin thing where she got planted in the ring pretty good. But other than that, in recent memory, there aren't many moments, especially not on purpose. And this is a match that Sasha asked for. It begins with her slapping Reggie across the face. And then we get a luchador performance by Reginald and Sasha. What they managed to do here was have an intergender match where mostly was some form of arm drags and flips, and usually Reginald was on the defensive trying to get away.
Yes.
He would become very happy with himself when he
would always pause when he got a move, like when he got out of the way, and she would hurt herself somehow by running into something because he got out of the way first, and that would pause him for a second.
Yeah.
When she did the arm drag and he flipped through it, when he did the back between her legs and then his back out, oh dude, it was just.
And then he flips out of the ring,
rolls
onto the ground.
Out under the bottom rope.
You mentioned her trying to hit a backstabber and him managed to flip over
through it.
Oh my goodness! Then there was a move where she did some form of a pop up where she winds up. I think they were doing some form of a wheelbarrow, but she winds up almost standing on his shoulders.
Pop-up Meteora, yeah.
And it turned it into a Meteora, right? That was crazy.
Oh, yeah. He set that up beautifully.
Yeah, and dude, actually, I could watch these kids roll around all day.
It was crazy. I had a lot of fun with that.
I mean, it was gymnastics, but I loved it. And
when she threw him towards the steps on the outside, and he flipped over them, and then you saw him land it, and he had to pretend to stumble toward Carmella. Yes. You could tell he had to fake it. He had to fake stumbling.
He's too good. He's too good to actually have stumbled. But she does eventually. Now she does a I think the Meteora wound up turning into.
She ended up going for like a round the world.
She was going to do some form of a head scissors Conrada thing, but then she went around like twice on top of his body while he was standing, and then turned that into a bank statement. Right?
Yeah, it was a little messy, but they got there.
Well, she got hemmed up on the hip. But also, if she hadn't got hemmed up on the hip, then in theory she would have hit the Conrada.
Yeah.
There wouldn't have been a counter to turn it into a bank statement. So even though it looked wonky, it could have been on purpose that it looked wonky.
Could have been.
In theory, it should have been on purpose that it looked wonky. I loved it. I loved it.
I had a lot of fun with this, and I did not think I would.
Right. I rolled my eyes when they said it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I just thought Charlotte would...
Carmella would come out there
and do something.
Hit her with a,
bottle of wine.
It'd be
over, right. Paul and Roman are backstage, and Paul is quite happy with himself, to which Roman says, hey, man, I handed you the mic to eviscerate him verbally. I didn't expect you to challenge him to a match. You're on your own out there. Paul didn't seem to realize that was possible.
Yeah, he sells it, man. He's so good.
He did. Apollo versus Big E, and we get a belly-to-belly right out of the chute in a pinning predicament. We get Apollo. They had like 3 pinning predicaments in the first 4 moves, which I thought was interesting because they were off and running, but it also kind of told me in the back of my head,
this match ain't going long.
Sammy's over there.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
I knew Sammy had a key to handcuff himself.
He walked out there in the second segment to be the constant distraction so we wouldn't see him coming. Right? And then, of course...
It's the camouflage of I've been here the whole time standing here. You've forgotten me at this point.
And it worked. They're wrestling great. You should be fired up about a future match between these two groups, or between Big E and Apollo. They've given us good stuff, but of course the ending on this one is 2 haluva kicks, and I was happy with this. I was
happy with it. I thought it went well. I thought it was well booked. I thought it played out well.
It allows us to have probably a 3-way dance at the Rumble or something, or maybe next week, and then that go back to Apollo versus. Which could also give you time to put Apollo further into Roman's good graces if you wanted to do that. Quickly, we cut to Kevin Owens, who has been told he could not enter the building. This is a segment from earlier in the evening. He got to work, was told he was not allowed there because Roman is the man who tells people what to do. He calls Roman out for being a coward. He explained. I did like the little touch of why he couldn't stop fighting, and he shows you the tattoos with the initials of his grandfathers on his knuckles, and how that they had held on to their lives longer than they should have because they just weren't willing to give up. Therefore, he can't give up, and that they were his biggest backers when he wanted to be a pro wrestler, and that they didn't live long enough to see him wrestle in WWE. All that was well done. Continuing to say Roman's a coward. Well, Kevin Owens doesn't miss, and this is continued greatness from him sitting in a car.
Yeah.
Amazing what he can do compared to others. Okay.
Well, it's the benefit of growing up. It's cutting your teeth in companies that couldn't afford creative as well. Like, couldn't write you a script. You had to get out there and do your crap by yourself.
Right. Interesting that Roman did an interview this week, and he mentioned something about how he just had trouble when they gave him scripts. And that now that they just let him go out there and do it, it's easier.
Amazing. Isn't that crazy?
Right. Oh, I agree. But either way, Street Profits have a fruit basket for Miss Sonya, who happens to be talking to Dolph. And if we don't remember, Dolph and Sonya were in somewhat of a faction with one another there as they were trying to run Otis and Mandy out of the company. And so Dolph being a champion now, this is an interesting conversation. But
shout out to Sonya Deville's suit game.
Amazing. She has the greatest suits in sports entertainment right now.
Yes.
And Dolph exits stage left as he knows that they have some type of, the Profits want some form of a discussion about stuff. And he doesn't even seem to feel like he needs to be involved as a champ. Knowing that they would be wanting a rematch, and him just walking away nonchalantly would make you think that there might be something
going on.
Afoot.
Shenanigans, you say?
Yes. They want a rematch, but Sonya lets Montez know that in his best interest, he can't be healed from his injury he suffered a couple of weeks ago. And therefore, you're going to need to just stay on the shelf and keep doing those little funny backstage segments you do. And then, of course, we get back to the machine gun fire at Creative, where she says, let some other teams get some opportunities. Because, we have been watching the Street Profits tend to wrestle one group of people for months at a time, and then another group of people for months at a time, and then another group of people for months at a time. So to allow somebody else in the mix...
That's crazy talk, Kevin.
Somebody must have walked into the building new, fresh.
Yes. Not with their spirits broken yet.
Okay. Obstacle course time. Bayley versus Bianca. Cole intros, and Bayley is up first on the obstacle course. It looks fairly difficult, and you have Chad Gable.
Did you say fairly difficult? Did you see those hurdles?
That she had, they weren't hurdles. They were stepovers.
Yes.
Okay, and so she does it in, a minute 16 or something?
Minute 17, I think.
Picks up the... They tried to say he was close to 200 pounds, Gable. Walks him across the area. I don't think he's close to 200 pounds. And she misses the layup to end the...
Doesn't make two shots.
Right. Then it's Bianca's turn, and they put real hurdles up, and
no, they weren't technically real hurdles. They were still about 3/4 of a hurdle.
Right, but there was one stride between them.
Oh yeah, there
was no distance.
No distance for her to get her length.
And I'll tell you something in a minute. But okay, and then she has the climb over things, and she does leap over everything.
She's ridiculous, dude. She is,
and then
so athletic.
They have Otis over there instead of Gable. She has to carry for the 10-foot or whatever, and she has no issue with probably 400 pounds of guy on her shoulders.
Yeah,
carrying him, and then she hits the dunk. And here's the thing. I just kind of wish we'd have done this at a track. And because I would have liked for them to have let Bianca really show off
on a real hurdle or something like that. Show her, or a high jump or something like that.
Have two different tracks and have Bayley do hers, and then go, oh, by the way, this is your track, and it'd be like the real track, and you could have the same spot with Otis, and the goal she dunked on being 7 foot. Okay, first of all, they could have put that thing at 9. She could have dunked it.
Yeah.
They didn't have to put it at 7.
No.
You know what I mean? They had to put it at 7 so that Bailey could slam the basketball at the bottom of it on the way up. But Bianca could have dunked it from 9 foot. There's no problem for her. You know what I mean? I would have liked to. This was fun. It was a very fun segment, but I would have liked to have been
more production.
Because I actually have seen like what she did. She set all the records at the Performance Center on that day where they all show off how physically gifted they are. I would have just liked to seen that.
Yeah,
the kid in me that grew up watching. If you remember the Wide World of Sports, had the superstars, and you would have like Ronaldo Nehemiah versus Herschel Walker versus
Bo Jackson come out there and stun it. Whatever.
Turns out Larry Holmes can't really lift weight.
Yeah.
Right, but by the same token, none of them dudes would walk towards Larry Holmes because he would drop them. You know what I'm saying?
I don't need to lift weights.
Right.
I'll put you down. I don't need to pick anything up.
I have a left and I have a right. That's all that matters here. But anyway, it was fun. It was absolutely fun. Now, Dominic and Ray are talking strategy backstage, and you're going to do it my way. I'm going to do it my way this time, and if it fails, we'll resort to whatever Ray's way is later. And so then he has a match with Corbin and gets pretty much squashed.
Yes, which should have happened. I liked that.
It was fine.
My girlfriend, who is new to wrestling, doesn't know much about wrestling, but she pointed this out. She goes, "So you're telling me Baron Corbin just squashed him and Seth Rollins wrestled him for like 30 minutes every time they wrestled?" I was like, you're expecting this thing called plot and logical consistency in wrestling, and you're not always going to get
I will say, though, that generally speaking, when Seth was wrestling Dom, there were always some kind of stuff, and Seth was never really wrestling Dom. He was always trying to yell at Ray while he was wrestling Dom or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also loved that they did do something realistic here.
Yes.
And I love that she brought up Seth, because if Dom decides he doesn't want to go the way of the Father, we have somebody that's on hiatus right now that needs
a disciple. Yeah.
And Dom has shown that he does not like a lot of these nicer qualities.
And then you can tell the story of Murphy versus Dom.
With Murphy the good guy.
Murphy the good guy, and Dom now the fallen, the fallen to the dark side.
Yeah, the black sheep in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now
that's too. We're never gonna get that, Kevin.
I know somebody that's calling him, asking him about it.
Who?
Seth.
Well, I hope so.
You know he wants it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyway, we'll see.
Let me point out something though. Baron Corbin had some new ring gear tonight.
I did not.
It was awful.
Really? It didn't really jump out at me.
Oh, dude, he had one gold leg and one black leg.
Oh,
but he had a black boot at the end of the gold leg.
Yeah.
And it was like
sharp.
A brown belt, black gold, and brown, and then his spaghetti straps. Why he loves those spaghetti straps, I don't know. Him and Grand Metalik probably shop at the same boutiques.
And Dominic.
Well, Dominic goes to the Louis Vuitton website and just hits random.
I don't understand the birds on Dom's hoodie.
It was Ray. It's the things off Ray's mask.
Yeah, but I mean, couldn't you put them on the chest or something?
He's got to have the fake pecs on his chest, Kevin.
Correct. However,
it's got to grow into his head. Is what he's got to do. That's mean, but it's true.
In spite of what had happened before, this seemed booked properly.
No, I enjoyed this. I thought it was well done. I thought Baron Corbin should have knocked the crap out of this dude. Ray pointed, this guy's a Golden Gloves boxer.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he did do a good job, too, of pointing out why Corbin would whoop his butt for 2 straight weeks. He told him that after his match and then after the next match, and then, boom, it happened. So they predicted it. Now, we wind up with Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce in a match, but not really. We do have Renee Young. Congratulations on the baby. Renee hosting a show from Fox called Backstage, which had gone away for a little bit. Interesting in that she is the significant other of one Jon Moxley. Paul is walking to the ring, and holy cow.
Taping his fist, baby.
Cards are subject to change, and Paul is injured.
He fake, dude. He's so good, dude. The little stumble.
Yes.
It was so good.
And so Roman comes out, bang, Superman punch, and he's putting a whooping on Scrap Daddy. Scrap Daddy's in trouble. He's about to get murked, and holy cow, security at SmackDown is terrible.
Failed again.
Somehow Kevin Owens comes out and just pillar to post Roman. Just beats the stew out of him.
Finally, Kevin Owens gets his moment.
And he needs to have it now because we are quickly approaching the pay-per-view where he needs to seem like he can win this thing.
Then we know he's not.
But still, the illusion has to be there.
Yeah, he needs to get over next week too.
Yeah, optically, we need to see him standing above Roman screaming, and the optics of Roman on the ground, and Roman, it's funny because he. Let me just say, Roman had gold and black Air Force Ones on.
Woo!
They were so nice,
dude. Roman ain't playing.
If he would have, if KO would have scruffed them up, that's when you're going heel, right there. But anyway, pop-up powerbomb puts Roman through the table, and then at the optics of the officials grabbing at Kevin Owens to keep him away from Roman, who was down, and Kevin Owens saying the officials, but he almost like he was implying the officials were the corporation that is protecting.
Well, he's got a point because when he's out there getting the crap beat out of him by Jay,
nobody
and Roman,
came to help him.
No officials came out to stop any of that.
Great point, Justin. Great point. You had a good time.
This is a great show.
Yeah, absolutely.
SmackDown is well done.
Absolutely. And Raw is long.
Raw is a long show.
Okay.
With a couple of good things that happen.
For Justin, from EKP, this has been a Go Home Heat production. Copyright 2021. Go home.